Okay guys, about 60 seconds we're going to be going through the hidden truths about Lyme disease and why it's often looked. It's the testing number one, it's the Lyme disease doctor or the healthcare provider that just isn't dialed in on Lyme disease. I'm going to share some things. One of my favorite books, Healing Lyme Disease and Co-Infections. Another one we're going to be talking about Lyme disease and Rife machines. Also going to be talking about the Lyme cure that is in my book and how to get some of these resources. We're coming up literally in just a few seconds, and we're going to spin this up and literally talk about the great imitator, Lyme disease, and why the why is, and we're going to be starting in literally about 60 seconds. And that is, again, it's not an antibiotic deficiency disease. This is the common things I wish I would have learned or someone would have taught me 20 years ago on the hidden truths about Lyme disease and why it's such a problem. So here we go. All right, you guys, Lyme disease, this is Becky, and this is a classic case of something's been missed over and over and over again. And here's the hidden truth. It's the testing. So some of the testing, Western blot, the ELISA test, it can work at the very, very beginning to give you some information, but there's some really important statistics that I'd like to share with you about Lyme disease and why it's hidden so well. Like it hides from the immune system. This literally morphs, and in my opinion, this is something that you really need to know. This book, Lyme Disease and Rife Machines, and one of the reasons why I keep saying that is I love this illustration. It's the best one that I've literally found, and here it is right here. This is the life cycle. So the book is written by Brian Brosner. Big props to him. I love this illustration of the Lyme's life cycle. Lyme life cycle. The reason why I say that is because it's not just as simple as having a spirochete, as corkscrew-shaped bacteria, because there's different phases of this thing. There is literally the spore phase, the biofilm phase, the budding phase, the intracellular phase, and the testing in the medical world, literally 80% of the time, it misses it. And so what I would like to tell people is this. Look, immune system confusion, there's deep tissue penetration. It's not just in the bloodstream. It burrows down into the tissues. And this is why if you put 40 people in a room, it's literally my belief that 40 of the people will have different diagnoses. There'll be a heart problem, there'll be a lung problem, there'll be hormone problems. All of that is you're going to see in Lyme disease. And this is why it hides so well. This is why it's so dang tricky. And timing is in everything. So the standard tests are looking for the antibodies, but if the immune system is suppressed or if the infection is chronic, you're literally going to miss this. And so the hidden secrets that most people miss, it's the timing and it's the phases. And again, as my microphone was in the wrong position, the phases, there are 5 phases in Lyme disease. There's the spirochete phase, the intracellular phase, the spore phase, the budding phase, and the biofilm phase. And literally the conventional testing that we have, it misses 20% of the Lyme bacteria life cycle. Now, here's another problem that we have is the diagnostic gap. Here's what it is. 70% of Lyme disease is missed by standard tests. That's the ELISA or the Western blot. And it fails to adequately detect or diagnose Lyme disease. It usually, on average, takes 2 to 5 years to get the diagnosis, and it averaged 12 doctors, 12 different specialists before getting proper Lyme treatments. And here is the proper Lyme treatments that I wish everybody knew about. It's not just killing the bug. Yes, we want to get the immune system to go after the bug, but here's what else. You have to get everything balanced. Literally, you've got to get the detox pathways working. You got to get the organs built up. You got to get the hormones talking to each other. You got to find and remove the barriers to healing, because the barriers to healing are things that block your ability to detox things out of the body. I just had this happen today. Had a really sick patient come from a state far away. We've been working as hard as we can to get them to improve, and they're not improving. So what does that mean? You got to go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, what did I miss? Is it not enough sleep? Is it not enough water? Is it bad diet? Well, every patient was trying to do everything right there. They were sleeping right. They were getting adequate water. They're eating as clean as they can. They live way out in the country. They're not around chemicals. They don't live, under a cell phone tower. They're in a relatively stress-free environment. I mean, everybody has stress, but considering where they are in life, they had children, they have grandchildren, the stress levels are slightly lower. And so I'm like, what is the barrier? Well, come to find out, their house has nasty and massive water damage, and they literally found black mold in the bedroom. And so what's happening is we have to get rid of that environment. We have to do something to remove the black mold, because you got to weed, seed, and feed the body. Weed means we're pulling out the barriers. Seed is we're putting all the good stuff in, and feed is we got to give building blocks to have healthy organs, tissues, and cells. And that's one of the things that I would really like in a Lyme disease program is we have to change the environment, and you have to kill the bug. But the first thing is you got to get the diagnosis. So again, I love this information in this book from a Lyme disease survivor. And literally, I knew that there were different phases in life cycles of the bacteria, but this diagram right here, I just think is so useful to know that 20% of the medical testing that we have for Lyme disease doesn't work. It's not adequate. And then 70% of the testing is inaccurate, 2 to 5 years diagnosis, 12 different doctors. Like, here's an example of kind of a classic patient. This isn't just me saying it. On our website, we have a patient success stories. On our YouTube channel, we have all of these patients, over 1,000 video testimonials. And what's happening is her story is battling mysterious symptoms, crushing fatigue. She literally was in her basement trying to get away from light and stimuli and stress, because what it did is it just flared her up. Her life began to shrink. She couldn't work full days anymore. Well, here's what they were missing is in Lyme disease, it's not always a classic bullseye rash. 30 to 50% of people develop the telltale rash. Normal blood tests came back that, they literally weren't there. And then her symptoms don't fit inside of the box. And this is frustrating when conventional allopathic doctors say, okay, round pegs, round holes, square pegs, square holes. And the problem is with Lyme disease is, again, it's the weakest link. Some people migrating polyarthralgia, lots of joints hurting, a lot of muscle problems. I jokingly tell Lyme patients that the bacteria literally turns you into a vampire. You're exhausted during the day and you can't sleep at night. And I feel that this bacteria has an off-settling effect or a major disruptor effect for the pineal gland that's releasing melatonin. And melatonin, I feel, is a hormone that really is helpful for hormones. And everybody thinks it's just sleep. It's immune system regulation. And so the medical system is literally designed to treat the symptoms and not ask why that they're happening. So here's what we actually found. Now, in my opinion, the best evaluation to do for Lyme disease is a medical research project where we do medical microscopy. Now, if I was king in medicine for a day, this is one of the things that I would love for them to change. It feels so simple. Look, you take a little sample of blood out of the finger, you put it on the slide, you go through a patient interview process, you look at lab tests, and then you see if you get any more investigation and discovery in looking at someone's blood. In my opinion, this is the easiest way to find out if we have something happening in the life cycle. Now, this isn't the only diagnostic pathway. I just think it's very useful. So where does the diagnostic information come from? Well, it comes from the patient history. Like we were taught that in every graduate program for healthcare. Is there a history of exposure? What are you or someone that you live with that's in your ecosystem been in a Lyme disease rich area? Or when I say rich, prevalent area, do you have some of the classic signs? Polyarthralgia, do you have rash problems? You have hormone imbalances? Like you coordinate all of it and then you do your best to put the system together. Now there's some really neat testing that's available We can look at immune system dysregulation. We also want to look at the co-infections. We want to look at mitochondrial dysfunction and nutrient depletion. Look, Lyme never starts off on its own. It drags friends or co-infections into that system. And so the comprehensive treatment plan for this is literally, hey, Dr. West, what can you do to upregulate the system? And here's what you do. You help the body to be as healthy as possible. Just had another patient come from Louisiana that had been treated by her doctor for over 10 years, not making any progress. She comes out to Idaho for a couple of weeks, and we start treating her with oxidative medicine, with DMSO therapy. So dimethyl sulfur oxide is this wonder universal softener. We looked at the other oxygen and pathways. We're looking at dilute hydrogen peroxide and hyperbaric oxygen and all of these wonderful, wonderful treatments that help to upregulate. I have it all listed in my book. That there's a way that you can get this book. It's called Hidden Secrets to Chronic Disease. And literally here in chapter 10, I love this chapter, the best treatments for chronic disease. And to outline it is like, here's the plan. So if you have Lyme disease or Epstein-Barr and you want to know how to get better, you can see the other success stories that are just like you on our channel and our success blog. But even more importantly, here's the framework to get better. You follow the 5 rules of health. And the 5 rules of health are: try to get in a healthy sleeping environment, rest, enough water, healthy and alive food, move as reasonably you can, and then how you talk to yourself. All of that, by the way, is in our Lyme disease guide located at lymefighter.com. Okay, and lymefighter.com, we have this free resource guide for you. Okay, not that. Okay, and I thought I could bring up a quick link. It's www.lymefighter.com. And then here are some other really nice resources for you. Look, if your body was a computer, we need a Control-Alt-Delete. That helps to reset the nerve memory. This is in step 2 right over here. We also need cellular rebuilding. So protomorphogen therapy, liver glandular therapy, oral peptide bioregulators, and then right here, getting the poisons out, the detoxification centers. Look, supplements and IVs are stepping stones. Long-term recovery comes from getting your immune system, the thymus and the spleen working, proper nutrition, and a sustainable lifestyle that helps you to get better. Now, what happened with Victoria's amazing restoration is this. Like, as we started putting things together, her energy levels started to stabilize. The joint pain started to go away. And within 6 months, we started seeing this amazing presence and engagement with her inner circle. On a case where you had chronic Lyme or PTLDS, which is post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome, recovery isn't overnight, but with the right plan, the body remembers how to heal. And so her transformation reminded us hope is never lost. And here's where your pathway starts. If this story sounds familiar, if you've been bouncing between specialist to specialist, if you're on that 12-doctor run, here's what I want to share with you. There is hope. Don't give up. I put together some of the best things that I know on our website, www.lymefighter.com. You can literally go there. You can get a free diagnostic assessment guide. You can book a complimentary consultation with our team. You're not your diagnosis. There's a way forward. So I don't want your story to be someone that gets sick and then slowly the medical world watches you run out of gas. Look, Victoria didn't give up, and you shouldn't be either. Every patient deserves to be heard, to be believed, to help with a journey. And remember, you're not alone in this fight. Now, I see over here, we have a couple of questions to go through. So let me go through these. Okay, Dr. West, I've had brain fog and fatigue for years, but my Lyme tests always come back negative. How is this possible? Well, just like I said, the biggest problem with Lyme disease is the testing. 70% of the testing using the Western blot and ELISA test, I feel, is inaccurate. And here's a better way to move forward. The best is getting a medical research process where you look at your blood under a microscope. You can see the 5 phases, in my opinion. I also do really like the IGeneX test, where you're looking for antigens and antibodies. That's a test that we can order for you long distance. We have a program, whether you're across the street or across the country, to help you get information. And that is my favorite lab test. Nothing beats the in-office history workup, reviewing your labs, your imaging, and doing that medical research project. Question number 2. Dr. West, what is the difference between Lyme disease and conditions like fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue? How do I know which one that I have? Well, here's what I say. I feel that those autoimmune conditions like fibromyalgia or myalgic encephalopathy, or I really believe that there's a component at play for rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Hashimoto's disease, autoimmune hepatitis, psoriatic arthritis. I'm not saying all of them are Lyme, but I do believe that the majority of those have an immune infection component to them. And if you have fibromyalgia or autoimmune disorder, I feel it's very important to rule out infectious disease. Is it Epstein-Barr? Is it Lyme disease? Is it the bacteria? Is it a co-infection? Is it herpes simplex 1 or 4 or 7? Is it the rotavirus or the cytomegalovirus? Now, once we know that you have it or you don't have that infectious disease, we can put together a treatment plan. So if you don't have it, we go after the organs and the tissues and the cells to make them healthy. We want messengers to go from literally one organ system to another. We call that a hormone. We want to make sure that we have the mind-body healing component organized, like how you're talking to yourself. Is your environment good? Is there anything we can do to help with the relationships? And is it bad memories? Is it a nerve memory where you get something that affects your body and then you get the body healed and then it goes away? That happens all the time, especially in shingles. You get post-herpetic neuralgia. Sometimes the shingles go away and you still hurt. So the answer to the question, do I have fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, or do I have Lyme disease? Look, we do the assessment, we do the workup, we look at the barriers to healing. You do some specialty testing. We got to figure out if the barriers are healing. It's all in my book about the Hidden Secrets plan. And then we look, we see if we have any of those markers. Question 3, Dr. West, can Lyme disease really cause mental health issues like anxiety or depression? My doctor says that's all it is. It's just anxiety, depression. Look, this isn't a religion, but I don't believe that at all. I absolutely believe that Lyme disease absolutely can get inside of the nervous system and the neurotransmitters, throw off an imbalance, and exacerbate anxiety. It can exacerbate being tired or wild. It can aggravate melancholy and cause clinical depression. Matter of fact, in one of my favorite studies, the British Journal of Medical Practitioners, it says that chronic infection, Lyme disease being one, Epstein-Barr being another, can cause neurodegenerative, neurobehavioral, psychiatric, autoimmune, and fatiguing illness. Look, when you don't feel very good, it absolutely will affect your mental health. If your mental health is off, can it cause physical problems? Of course it can. Look, when we work with someone that has melancholy and depression and has anxiety, the first thing we want to do, we want to balance the system. We want to help on the nutrition pathways. Is there food sensitivity? Is there food allergy? Is there enough sleeping? Is the hormones off? By the way, that's exactly what you do for people that have Lyme disease. You do the same thing. So I think it's really important to make sure that you're as healthy as possible, and doing those specialty tests would really, really help. Okay, last question in this question answer that I can see. Dr. West, if antibiotics don't only work on the short term, what other options do people have for the treatment? Well, look, when you have Lyme disease, the play here is you want to help to create change so that we have a lasting environment that's inhospitable or doesn't allow the bacteria to survive. That's how you win. That's how the literally thousands of testimonials that we have on YouTube and Facebook and our patient success blog, that's how they're beating it, is you help the immune system, but you also help the muscle system, you help the cardiac system, you help the nerve condition, you help the hormone problems. I love doing these treatments for that. High dose vitamin C infusion therapy, major autohemotherapy, neural therapy, NAD therapy, PTDC therapy, NAD therapy, methylene blue therapy. Like, they all have a place in the treatment of Lyme disease. All right, you guys, that's what the hidden secrets are, why things get missed. It's the testing. There's so much better testing available. If this is helpful for you, please help me to live my mission, which is to help people beat Lyme disease, to live not here, but live up here. I have people all the time, every day, beating Lyme disease. And I would prepared a resource for you. I have a link to my book that you can use. Look, most of the time I just have people pay for shipping for this. It's an Amazon bestseller, Hidden Secrets to Curing Your Chronic Disease. And listen, there's a pathway forward. We have programs across the street, across the country. We've had people come from every continent. I'm helping people in different continents beat Lyme disease through our virtual program. All of the information is yours for free at www.lymefighter.com. I'm Dr. Jason West. That is our presentation on the hidden secrets. We'll see you guys on the next video.